All right, folks, check it out. We always want to hunt excellence and be able to kind of share tidbits or information that can empower you and elevate you, where you can really take that next step forward. And I always believe in asking yourself the right question. Growing up, I used to ask myself the wrong question all the time. I later learned that as time went on. But with us today, we have Jim Kwik, the brain coach. What's up, Jim? How you doing, man?
So good to be here. Thanks for having me.
I am super honored to be here with you right now, sir. And I just want to make sure that we maximize all information we can to help people make good decisions, really understand, and just doing some research that we're not broken, even if we're not in the normal, if we can't understand the normal school system, that there's a different approach to it. And I think you've kind of hacked the system for that allows people to truly understand that everything's okay. If it is to be, it's up to me. And that here's some techniques that we could use in order to really elevate and take that next step forward.
Yeah, and I appreciate you having this conversation because it's very timely. You know, I deal with the area of the brain, and people are always wondering why their brain isn't working the way they think it should be working. Yeah. People feel overloaded. They are forgetful. Yeah. You know, the senior moments are coming too early. You know, I believe two of the most costly words in life and business are I forgot. Mm-hmm. I forgot to do it. I forgot to bring it. I forgot what I was going to say. I forgot that conversation. I forgot that meeting. I forgot that person's name. All of that, you know, just it could hurt a relationship.
Yeah, because it makes you feel like someone's not paying attention to you, or they're discrediting you. You're asking somebody to do something and not getting it done. Yeah. And when they say, I forgot, I'm sorry, that can only last one time, right? You can't.
Right. There's that whole idea that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Yes.
It's hard to show someone you're going to care for their future, their finances, just their family, whatever you have to offer them if you don't care enough just to remember things like their name.
So let me ask you a question, because there is times that I actually forget, right? Yeah. And usually it's because I don't get a good night's sleep.
Ooh.
I overcommit, right? Or I stay in one meeting longer than I'm supposed to.
Yeah.
And I'll either have to cancel a meeting or move something. Is that part of the brain technique from a process mastery standpoint on how to stay on point with your schedule?
Yes, I realize this is, I've been doing this for over 30 years, and I realized that it's not how smart you are, it's really how are you smart. That there are ways we all have ways of exhibiting genius, you know, and excellence in certain areas. And there's no such thing as a good or bad brain. There's a trained brain and there's an untrained brain. Mm. Just like even with our memory, you know, you mentioned school. There was no class on memory going back to school. School taught you what to learn: math, history, science, Spanish.
Memorize.
Yeah, but there are no classes on how to learn those subjects, how to focus, how to concentrate, how to learn, how to read better, how to remember.
So if someone's in their 30s, 40s, or even 50s, they've never learned these techniques, what's the first thing? Where does it start?
And I totally get that. You know, for me, I'm 50 this year, and so it's one of those things where I grew up with. Let's backtrack. I had a traumatic brain injury when I was 5 years old, and so I had a very severe learning difficulties and challenges growing up. I had processing issues. I didn't understand what a teacher was saying. I would pretend to understand, but I didn't understand.
Nope.
It took me years longer to learn how to read with my head injury. And so I'm very passionate. And, you know, what I found is, you know, once you understand how your brain works, you can work your brain better. Once you understand how your memory works, you can work your memory.
So when you had this challenge when you were 5 years old and you were dealing in the space of, you know, just saying yes to say yes, when did the exercises really start? Or what was the first aha moment that led to a new trajectory, a new path?
So my inspiration was my desperation. When I was 9 years old and I couldn't even read, I was slowing down a class and I was being teased in class by the other kids. And a teacher came to my defense, but she pointed to me in front of the whole class and said, "Leave this kid alone. That's the boy with the broken brain."
So she made it even worse.
Yeah, and because that's all I remembered was like, I have the broken brain, and I didn't know that. So every single time I wasn't picked for sports, I would say, because I have the broken brain. Every time I did badly, I was
storytelling.
I would say, I have the broken brain. That became my internal conversation. People at these events, they'll come to me and say, "Wow, I remember your opening keynote here. You know, I have a horrible memory. I'm too old." And I say, "Stop. If you fight for your limitations, you get to keep them."
Ooh.
Yeah, you know, because people so many times they say, "I'm too old. I'm not smart enough." And your brain is this incredible supercomputer, and your self-talk is the program that will run. So if you tell yourself, "I'm not good at remembering people's names," you won't remember the name of the next person you meet because you program your supercomputer not to. And that's the big challenge.
It's a Google brain.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's just, if people truly understood how powerful their mind is, they wouldn't say or think something they didn't want to be true. And that's not to say you have one negative thought and ruins your life any more than eating that one donut ruins your life. But if you did it every single day, it definitely have an effect.
So for the folks that are listening, what are if you want to get into some techniques to disrupt the pattern, is there certain things that they can start counting every day, all the times they have a self-fulfilling thought of negativity, and how to reverse that?
Yeah, I think self-awareness is a superpower. So being aware of your self-talk first, because you can't change something unless you know it's an issue, right? Like your finances. If you aren't willing to look at their credit and looking at their statements, then how are they going to know and be able to change something? Measure their, body fat composition, whatever they want to be able to fix. And so that's the first step. But then also making these micro changes. I don't think you have to change everything overnight. It's hard to change somebody else, much less, change yourself. And so I would say even catching yourself. You say, I don't have a great memory, add a little word like yet at the end. I don't have a great memory yet. And it opens up the possibility and potential of making that change.
Transformational. I'm hearing a lot of transformational vocabulary.
Yeah.
Words have energy.
Huge.
Right? And the energy, the words you use every day habitually, I think we use like 200 on average and 2,000 in our life.
Yeah.
What those words are, how they're tied to emotions. We know there's 4,000 words that are emotional, of which 60% are negative. So do you have techniques on how to really kind of language it out?
Yeah.
Is there a program? Is there a class?
Yeah. I mean, I wrote a book called Limitless. It was pretty popular.
Limitless, I heard it was incredible.
Yeah.
I can't wait to read it.
Thank you.
And I apologize. Listen, Alexa told me how unbelievable it was.
Thank you, Alexa.
And I'll be all over that.
Yeah, so Limitless is an owner's manual for your brain and your mind. It shows you how to reset your mindset, your motivation for people who suffer from procrastination or self-sabotage. And also gives you the methods for accelerated learning. I think if there's one skill your listeners want to master today, it's our ability to learn faster.
Yeah.
Because an individual or an organization's ability to learn faster and translate that learning into action is the ultimate competitive advantage in a world full of information.
So how did you go from a trained brain to an untrained brain?
Right.
You had a story that from 5 you had the accident, 9 you heard that you had a broken brain. Yeah. At some point you went to college, right? I mean, at some point things turned around.
When I was 18, I thought I could just make a fresh start. I thought what freshman meant, you can make a fresh start. I took all these classes and I did worse.
Were you still struggling?
I was.
Like mightily?
18, still struggling. And I found a mentor, and I think it's important nowadays for people to have, we stand on the shoulders of a lot of people that learn and have wisdom. And I learned some tactics on how to be able to master my mind better and also how to learn better. And so I started getting really curious about things like what did human beings do before there were printing presses? How did they remember things before there were digital devices that you could read off of teleprompters and everything else? And I found these ancient memory techniques that I still use to this day to, give speeches at events like this without using notes.
Can you give me something?
Yeah, absolutely.
I would love like.
Yeah, let's
please tell me. Yeah.
Right. So we'll sort of on that.
And I'm probably a good piece of clay to work with.
Yeah. We'll do it. So about 1/3 of our memory is predetermined by genetics and biology. 2/3 is in our control. So there are 10 things that will actually move the needle to make you smarter, faster, and better. Number 1, a good brain diet. What you eat matters, especially for your gray matter. Some of my favorite brain foods are avocados, blueberries. I like to call them brain berries. Broccoli is good for your brain. Olive oil is good for your brain. Eggs are good. The choline in eggs is good for your cognitive health. Green leafy vegetables like kale and spinach. Wild salmon or sardines, great for the brain. Turmeric's great for the brain. It lowers inflammation. Walnuts have high in vitamin E, neuroprotective. Dark chocolate, great for the brain.
Wow.
So those are some of my favorite brain foods.
Dark chocolate.
Yeah. Another thing you want to be aware, that will move the needle, is exercise. People who are more physically active will do better on mental acuity, better focus, better memory. Yeah. And I don't just mean doing CrossFit 3 times a week. How much are you moving throughout the day? And so,
not just sitting down. Even if you work out for an hour, you don't want to sit down all day.
They say sitting is the new smoking.
Wow.
And it's one of those things where it's just how much are you moving throughout the day. When you move, when your body moves, your brain grooves. We actually get smarter. What's good for your heart is going to be good for your head. More oxygen flow, more blood flow. And so you create brain-derived neurotropic factors, BDNF, when you move and exercise. It's like fertilizer for your brain.
Wow.
Also sleep. I mean, let's have this conversation.
Yeah, please.
Last night was a very late night. I was able to get a few hours on a book deadline, but when you don't sleep, how is your brain the next day?
So what is a good amount of sleep every night? Like I hear different hours.
Yeah, I mean, most people say 7 to 9 hours, but it's not so much the quantity of sleep, it's the quality of your sleep.
And you can measure that with like an Apple Watch?
With an Apple Watch, with a Whoop. I wear an Oura Ring. And so there's something called deep sleep and REM sleep. REM sleep is your dream sleep. That's where your mind resets and restores. Your deep sleep is when your body restores. And so you can actually measure that with devices.
And is that like 6-7 hours or 7 to 9 hours?
So it's not the total amount of sleep. I mean, it's the amount of REM sleep and deep sleep.
Got it.
I don't think anyone's getting like 7 hours of that. I mean, most people will sleep 6, 7, 8 hours.
Got it.
But some sleep tips, some of my favorite things. Most people need to cut caffeine past 2 p.m. because caffeine could stay in your system 8 to 10 hours.
Okay.
Also, staying to a schedule. Your body loves, even on weekends, if you can go to sleep at the same time and wake up at the same time, even on weekends, really good. But the two biggest needle movers for sleep is, as hunter-gatherers, we would know it would be time to sleep when your environment changes by 2 factors. It would get darker and it would get cooler.
Okay.
When you're in your home, sometimes it doesn't get darker because
The lights
and you're on your phone. And the phone, it emanates this blue light, which fools your mind into thinking it's still daylight. So I would recommend getting off your phone an hour before you go to sleep to help you sleep. Also, sleeping in a cooler environment will help you sleep better also as well.
Wow. So what do you feel about, in all of this, AI and the impact of AI going forward? How does that tie into all the stuff that you know?
So artificial intelligence, for me, AI stands for more augmented intelligence. I always ask my question, how can AI help improve HI, human intelligence? And so you could use like GPT and use it, some of the accelerated methods that we teach, memory palaces, space repetition, story method. You can actually go in, the Feynman technique. Richard Feynman has this way of learning where he would say, explain this to me as if I am 6 years old.
Yeah.
And you could use AI to say, hey, I want to understand this part of neuroscience or this part of investing.
Wow.
Explain
like
this
I'm
to me.
6 years old.
Explain this to me as if I am 10 years old.
Did you know that?
Or explain this to me in a story that I can easily understand. So that's an example of using AI to help improve your human intelligence.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Wow. So when you wrote that, what year did you write this book?
So this book came out 3 years ago. It was an instant New York Times bestseller, #1 on the Wall Street Journal. It overtook Obama's book for a whole week to be the #1 nonfiction book of all Amazon.
So when you're writing a book like this, do you know that that's going to happen? Like, do you even have an idea?
No, I want to thank everybody who supported that book. We donated all the proceeds to charity.
I love that.
To build schools for children in Guatemala, Kenya,
I love that.
Ghana, for Alzheimer's research for women. My grandmother passed of Alzheimer's, so just very passionate about that.
Yeah. So when you wrote the book, and now the book comes out, right? Was there folks that helped you get the book out as far as like people in your ecosystem, or you just had a publisher and it came out in New York Times and it took, like for people that are writing books, is there strategies?
I mean, our book came out in April of 2020. If people remember, that was an interesting time.
Yes. COVID.
Yeah, and so I had 34 speaking engagements, Milken, South by Southwest. All of them were canceled. I had all this media. All of it was canceled.
Wow.
And so,
So that was the best that happened.
So we were able to do it. We have a large, community. Many people might be listening. We have over 1 million subscribers on YouTube and, tens of millions of downloads on our own podcast. And so we have a good presence online. And so I want to thank everybody who supported the book. I really feel we have a new book coming out based on brain types. And I haven't talked about this publicly yet.
This is the first time?
Yeah.
I can say we heard it here first?
You heard
Wow.
it. This week is the first week we launched it. Brain quiz. And so people go to mybrainanimal.com.
We'll say that one more time.
Yeah, My Brain Animal. I discovered 4 different cognitive types, and I use animals as a symbol. And once you understand if you're a cheetah, you're a fast actor. And then maybe you can identify some people you know that are just fast acting. They use their intuition. They love fast-paced environments. They thrive because they adapt.
Am I a cheetah?
I don't know. So you have to take the test. So it spells code, C-O-D-E.
Yeah.
The C is the cheetah. The O is the owl. And this is people who are very logical.
I'm not the owl.
They look for data. They look for formulas, facts, figures.
I'm not the owl.
And so you can take the test see there. And then the D are your dolphins. These are your creative visionaries.
I might be a dolphin.
Yeah.
I could be a C and a D.
Yeah,
Can you
these
be
are
combo?
your visionaries. Yeah, absolutely. And so these are people who create pattern recognizers. They create solving problems.
Pattern recognition.
And then finally, the E in code are your elephants, and these are your empaths. These are people that are great collaborators. They work great at leading teams.
I think I'm pretty good at that.
Yeah.
Not like really good, but pretty. I'm not bragging. I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, check it out. And when you take the test, it's free. It only takes about 5 minutes. You get a detailed PDF report on how to use your brain type to discover how to learn faster, how to remember it better.
So say it one more time, so everyone that's watching this, we'll put it in the link below.
Yeah, mybrainanimal.com. It's a 20-question assessment that will give you your strengths and give you real tips
I love it.
on how to read faster, lead your team, start a business, and so much more.
So when you wrote the book, before that, you've already had an online presence. When did you first start going into social media?
So I'm very...
And what made you do it?
Yeah, social media is not very comfortable for me. I mean, we have a good following, a couple million on Instagram and more. But, I'm pretty introverted at events like this. So putting my life out in public, but I really do feel a moral obligation to help people.
Well, that's my point. So forget about, I know it wasn't about the followers or the subscribers, but you just started doing videos to share your message?
I did. I think people I believe we have to practice what we post. That's the biggest thing. So I just document, much like Gary here talks about, for years, I share my strategies. I record myself, reading and learning and taking my ice baths and doing all these things.
It's amazing.
And just as inspiration and instruction for people who want to try it for themselves.
Jim, last but not least.
Yeah.
What does it look like for you over the next 10, 15 years on your impact and how you want people to remember you?
So me growing up with labeled as the boy with the broken brain, I want to build better, brighter brains. No brain left behind, it really is our mission. I want to have positive impact on 1 billion brains, and I won't stop till I do.
I love that. And folks, if you want to learn more about Jim, go ahead and click the link below, and also go through the quiz. Thank you for checking us out. Jim, thank you for sharing your experience.
Can I challenge everyone to do something real quick?
Yes, please.
Take a snapshot of wherever you're consuming this right now and tag us both so we get to see it, and share one thing you're going to do to have a better brain. Are you going to prioritize your sleep? Maybe you're going to try some of these brain foods. Maybe you're going to move a little bit more. Maybe you're going to read or listen to a podcast.
I love it.
And then I'll actually repost, because you'll tag us in it, a couple of my favorite, and I'll actually gift a few copies out to people randomly.
That's awesome, Jim. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
You are special, and thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much.
I really mean it.
I know.
All right.